Hey everyone, welcome to our today lecture. In our today lecture, we are going to discuss the second approach to measure the utility, which is ordinal approach. In our previous lecture, we have measured the utility through cardinal approach, in which we discussed that we are measuring utility through numbers. But in our today lecture, we are going to discuss the second approach, which is called ordinal approach. In ordinal approach, we say that we are going to measure utility in form of order like A, B and C. And it is also called the indifference curve approach to measure the utility. Basically, let's discuss what is indifference curve. It is simply also called IC curve or indifference curve. And indifference curve shows the different combination of two goods which give him her same level of satisfaction which a consumer can attain when her level of income is given. Basically, indifference curve is giving same level of satisfaction to any consumer when he is or she is taking different level different combination of two goods, but every combination give him the same level of satisfaction as compared to the previous or the new combination. So now let's discuss about the assumptions of the ordinal approach. The first assumption is that the consumer must be rational, and the second assumption is that utility is ordinal. It means that we are going to measure utility in the form of numbers. The third one is diminishing marginal rate of substitution, DMRS. It means that the rate at which you are willing to trade off between two goods, that must be decreasing. And the fourth one is consistency in choices. Consistency in choices mean that if you prefer that bundle A is better than bundle B, then you must have always said that bundle A is better than B or better than C or better than D. So your choice must be consistent. So now let's discuss this approach with the help of a table, and then we will draw an IC curve from there, the values which are given in the table. As you can see here that we have different combination of two goods, good X and good Y, and here are the combinations from A to F. And here we can see that we have calculated the MRS, marginal rate of substitution, that the rate at which we are willing to forego to take 1 unit of Y by foregoing the 1 unit of X. As in our definition we have said that indifference curve shows different combination of two goods. As you can see that the first combination we have 1 unit of X and 16 unit of Y. This is the one combination, and in second combination we have 2 unit of X and 11 unit of good Y, and similarly so on. We have multiple combinations, but keep one thing in remember that if we select any of these combination, every combination give us the same level of satisfaction. There is no discrimination between these combination of different pair of two goods. The level of satisfaction which we can attain from the first combination, the same level of satisfaction is being given by the B combination and C or D or E and F. So when we are taking 1 unit of X, at parallel we are taking 16 unit of Y, and when we are willing to take 1 more unit of X, we have to forgo 5 unit of good Y. So how can we calculate MRS? Simply MRS is change in Y over change in X. So what is the change in Y? That is 5. 16 minus 11, that is equals to 5. And what is the change in good FX? That is 2, 1. So here is the change of 1 unit, 1 to 2. So when we divide 5 divided by 1, that is equals to 5. And when we are taking 1 more extra unit from 2 to 3, now we have forgo 4 unit of Y. So the MRS is 4:1. The change in X is 1 and the change in Y is 4. So 4 divided by 1 equals to 4. And similarly, when we move from 3 to 4 unit of x, now we are willing to forgo 3 unit of good y to get 1 extra unit of good x, and similarly go on, and as we are calculating the MRS. But the important thing is that, as you can see, that when we are taking more and more number of unit of x, we are willing to less and less trade of y to get 1 unit of x, as according to the law of marginal utility, the good which we are consuming more, it gives us less and less satisfaction. So as the number of unit of good x are increasing, now we are willing to forgo less and less unit of good y. As in the beginning we are willing to trade off 5 unit of good y to get 1 unit of good x, but with the passage of time and at the end, now we are willing to trade off 1 unit of y to get 1 unit of x. Why is that? Because as we have more number of any goods, it gives us less and less satisfaction. So as we have more number of good x, it gives us less and less satisfaction, as the unit of y are decreasing, so their utility is also increasing. So that's why MRS is decreasing. So it is one of the most important property of the indifference curve, that MRS is always decreasing or it is diminishing. So now let's draw these all values on a curve, and we will see that how will be the shape of IC curve. As you can see that on y-axis I have taken the number of unit of good y, and on x-axis I have taken the unit of good of x. So in first combination we have 16 unit of y and 1 unit of x. So 1 to 16 here is our first point, and then when we have 2 unit of x, at that point we have 11 unit of good y, and similarly when we have 3 unit of good x, at that point we have 7 unit of good y at point C, and similarly for point D, E and F. And when we join all of these points, it will give us indifference curve, and as you can see that indifference curve is slope downward and it is convex to the origin. So indifference curve always be in this shape, it is convex to the origin and it is slope downward. And what is the slope of indifference curve? The slope of indifference curve is MRS, that is change in y over change in x. How much you are willing to forgo to get 1 unit of x in order to take away the good of y. So this is the shape of indifference curve. In our next lecture we will discuss the properties of indifference curve.